Welcome to Virtual Realms. I'm Ranger 1. I wanted to make a quick video to answer a few questions that have come my way on how I built the underwater base that I have named Seaview. Question number 1. What mods did I use? Well, I made fairly heavy use of the Pimp My Home mod and the SteamPunk mod, but primarily I used the Structures Plus mod. The Structures Plus mod author, Orion Sun, recently expanded it with a section devoted completely to underwater building. And while he was at it, he added some critically important and thoughtful touches to make our lives much, much easier. These simple additions open up entire worlds of possibilities when creating an undersea base. So Structures Plus is going to be the main focus of this how-to video. It gives me all the options that I needed to incorporate anything I wanted, really, from other mods. And that's really the key to this whole project. Well, I've also been going back through and adding some personalized touches from the various eco mods. Those stained glass ceilings, and there's a stained glass door on the other side in particular that are extremely nice. And those came from Eco's Garden Decor mod. If you don't have all of Eco's mods, quit screwing around. You really need them. Oh, and the artwork on the wall and that black sofa over there, those are from the Buildings Extras mod, which has been around for quite some time. Now, if you've been trying to build underwater with the vanilla vacuum cubes that come in ARK, you've already had trouble getting this far. Nothing fits, and there are no snap points for anything. So all of that brings us to the very next question. Question 2. Does size really matter? The short answer is yes. Yes, it does. Well, at least it does when it comes to building underwater in ARK. There are 2 cubes I've placed outside the base. The one closest to us is a Structures Plus cube. It's exactly 2 by 2 by 2, the perfect size to build underwater and use vanilla components that you would normally use above the water's surface, or any mod that you might happen to pick up. There are snap points where you expect snap points to be. Everything's just the right size to attach ceilings, walls, whatever you like. The cube behind it is a standard vanilla vacuum cube. As you can see, it's a little too tall and it's not wide enough. All in all, it's just extremely restricting. You can only really match other vanilla cubes up with it. Now, I don't want to sound judgmental. I'm fully aware that the concept of these vacuum cubes for underwater building is actually, it's elegant and it's brilliant in its simplicity. And the developers of ARK have done a great job with them. I also recognize the fact that they may have future plans that justify a lot of the decisions they've made for the dimensions and the lack of snap points. I just can't for the life of me figure out what they are. Fortunately, Structures Plus is still on the sponsored mods list, so with any luck at all, we'll see it soon fully incorporated into the basic building mechanics of ARK. But while we're talking about these vacuum cubes, there's one special addition that I think we need to cover relatively quickly, and that is what you see before you right now, the sloped cubes. These are an addition that you'll only find in the Structures Plus mod, and they really enhance the look and feel of your base. Their use is straightforward and simple. You just simply place them like any other cube. You can face them with the slope going up or the slope going down, just like you would place a Structures Plus sloped roof, except it's even easier. One word of warning for you though. When you use these sloped cubes, the game sees it as a full cube in regards to the airspace inside it. So the part above the slope or below the slope, depending on how you're using these cubes, is an air pocket. That's not a big deal unless you have tames that are going to be right next to your base like I do. If they swim into that air pocket beside the slope, well, they'll die. So you need to keep that in mind when you use these sloped cubes. Fortunately, There's a very, very easy way to fix this so it is no longer an issue, if it was ever an issue for you at all. All you really need to do is fill out the rest of the cube using the glass walls and ceilings that come in the Structures Plus mod. You can make them fully transparent. You won't be able to see them or even know they're there. I'm going to go ahead and change the model so that we have the borders around this particular section again. This has been glassed in the whole time, but you couldn't see it. It has the extra added benefit of keeping your sea tames at arm's length, so they don't intrude through the force field walls of the cubes as often as they would normally, which is kind of a nice bonus. Let's go ahead and head back inside the base and answer question number 3. What are those nice touches that you mentioned that made the rest of this build possible? Well, there are some extra options in the radial menu that pops up whenever you look at a section of a wall or ceiling or floor where a force field is or should be in one of the Structures Plus vacuum cubes. The first one of these options is the very first thing that I messed around with, and that is to flood a particular cube, regardless of what else is around it. I thought, that's brilliant. I can use that function to flood this section of my base where the coral is coming up through the floor and make it a live aquarium, and I could fill it with wild sea scorpions. Now, is that a harebrained scheme? Well, yeah, it really kind of is, but it worked like a charm, and I flooded that entire section of my base and brought in some wild sea scorpions, going from one cube to another and using the flood cube command. And after I had done all that work, then and only then did I finally look at the other options that were on that menu. Not only could you flood a particular cube, but you could also drain a particular cube. And it suddenly occurred to me, I was doing things completely backwards. Rather than making this sealed off area and flooding each compartment, as I have just done, why don't I do this the other way around? I could remove the walls in the other sections, the exterior walls that face the open ocean, that when you remove them, let the water flood in. I could remove them, replace them with the walls from any mod that I chose, and then drain the water from that particular cube. And as I was pondering this, an update came out for the Structures Plus mod that added a new command called Drain All Connected. And that drains the water out of every vacuum cube that's connected to form your base. So with one click, I could completely drain the water from everything that was enclosed in a cube, no matter what the exterior walls were made of. Needless to say, this opened up vast worlds of possibilities for me. I could literally build my base out of anything that I wanted at that point. In fact, this command was so powerful, I didn't even really need to have walls to my base at all. I could simply have the cubes there, remove all the walls, ceilings and floors, use Drain All. The game knows where the cubes are, and it would remove all the water inside, giving you a crystal clear view of everything outside. No blue tint to everything, like you get when you're trying to view anything at all through the force field cube walls themselves. By the way, no, we haven't suddenly sprung a massive leak. When you use these cubes, it doesn't really stop rain. That may be something that Orionson needs to work on. But all you need to do is put any other mod or vanilla ARK ceiling over your head, and it stops the rain just like normal. Oh, and keep in mind, as you just saw, if you add or remove a regular ceiling or wall from anywhere in your base, it's going to trigger that flood mechanic, and everything's going to get wet, so be careful. One final side note on the sea scorpions, or ecoRPdecors if you want to be technical. I could have gone back through as I had planned and flood each individual cube here in this wet pen that I have for them, but ecoRPdecors are a special case, and I didn't really need to. You see, they're the ideal pet when it comes to something like this because their swimming animation and their survival doesn't actually depend on them being underwater. Water or air, it doesn't matter to them. They still move the same way, and they're just fine. Now, in the comments that I received, several of you had already figured out part or all of these little tricks. But you still had a question. Ranger, when I put these other walls up and other ceilings up from other mods, I have a serious problem that I can't get to go away. I still have the floaties. How do I get rid of them? Now, when I say floaties, I mean the particulate matter that floats in the waters of the ARK. It is a problem. I'm going to take you to the Nautilus Lounge and show you what I mean. Now, right now, we're standing in the Nautilus Lounge and everything looks fine. It's really not. There is a section right down the center over the carpet where floaties dwell. Through experimentation, I found that if I remained within one ceiling width of a force field, whether it be a wall or a ceiling or a floor, everything was just fine. But if I moved more than one ceiling width away from a force field, all of a sudden, the floaties attack. And that drove me a little bit nuts. Now, I could have solved that by simply making the floor be the regular cube force field. I could have inlaid it, as I have done in other sections, with wood floors or carpet pieces. You can stack ceiling or walls inside the framework of these cube walls and floors and ceilings. But I chose not to do it. I wanted this pattern, this carpet going right down the center with hardwood on either side. So in this particular case, I just decided to live with them. It doesn't bother me that much, at least not for now. I may go back later and fix it. And it's easy for you to fix if you do so. This wouldn't be a problem at all if this room weren't so tall. If I had a force field ceiling to the cubes over my head, there wouldn't be any floaties present at all. Or if this room was just a little bit narrower, I'd be fine. But because of its dimensions, I have that problem right in the center. As you can see, once I get upstairs closer to the ceilings, the problem goes away again. So, we'll see what happens. Well, that pretty much covers all the basics, everything of importance that I discovered using the Structures Plus underwater building components in conjunction with other mods to give my base the look that I wanted to give it and give myself a crystal clear, non-tinted view of my ocean surroundings. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer, just let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them for you. And for that matter, let me know if you figured out something that I haven't. I did put a bug in Orion's son's ear about the floaties, and I'm hoping that he's looking into whether there's a way to get rid of them without having to have a force field wall to a cube or ceiling or floor near at hand. And we'll see if there's something that can be done about that. If there is, I'm sure he'll find a way to do so. I'll put a link to the Structures Plus mod in the down below if there's some of you that don't already have it. And I want to take a moment to say thank you for watching and subscribing to the channel. The massive amount of support that you have shown an old man who puts these videos together in his spare time is nothing short of remarkable. So thank you very much. So until I see you again, don't drown.